Hey everyone. I just been thinking about speaking out about some things for quite a while, and usually when I go Facebook Live or whatever, somebody's expecting, or people are expecting there's a road going to get closed or a train blockade, or I don't know, something's going to happen. But this isn't like that. I've just been, I've spent a bit of time, I've had some family issues and some things happening and I've had to face and deal with, and it's been very difficult, and I've had to put a lot of focus and attention on that. And so in the process of that, I've had to go out and speak to quite a few people about our systems of laws and what our customs are and so on. And I've been noticing that there's quite a bit of misconceptions about what the Great Law says about family and about our clan system and about all kinds of issues, like the roles and responsibilities of men and the roles and responsibilities of women and the roles and responsibilities of our clans. And then also what is the actual job of a Royane and a Goyaner and all that sort of stuff, and child rearing, and all those things are embedded in Kanenhariyo. And so I've been really thinking about that a lot lately, and like probably 10 months. And I wrote a couple of small books just talking about certain aspects of Kanenhariyo, but I kind of made this personal bucket list, or this goal, that I'd like to write out all the different aspects of Kanenhariyo that I understand how it works, like in a today context. And like when I was a kid, there was a bunch of us teenagers. Well, we were just starting to become teenagers, maybe 5 or 6 of us, and the Longhouse community was pretty small in Kanenhariyo. And so the 3 clans, they kind of picked a few of us young guys, and they made a plan to, oh, that's a ring. What's that in your nose? Anyways, they made a plan to have us go and learn about the Longhouse stuff and to bring it back and to help build the Longhouse community there. And so I was one of those kids that was toured around and taken to go meet people and meet old people, elders, and so on, and ask questions. And I was always brought to the Longhouse, the festivals, and always encouraged to have a little booklet and write everything down, what I seen, and then ask questions later. And so that's what I did. And so I got a chance to talk to a lot of people who passed away now, and got to ask a lot of questions about things. And so I wanted to say that I have an intention I'm going to start a podcast. And I've been really thinking about how is the best way to really flush out and talk about all these, the intricate details about our customary laws and how they work. Because there's lots of bullshit out there. I hear people saying stuff it's not real. It's not even true at all. And it's being kind of said like as if it is. And that's really terrifying to me, because if that really gets hang on to, or if the lie gets told enough times, then people will believe that that's our ways, and it will completely undermine our opportunity, our chance to raise our government and to raise the Great Law back up to its potential, and to overthrow the Indian Act system, and to drive it out of our lands, and to actually have land back, and have our little countries, because that's ultimately reconciliation is going to require us having our countries back. Like, they got to back out, and then we're going to part up this place that won't be called Canada and the U.S. anymore. There'll be chunks of it that are not going to be. Maybe there'll still be, but certainly that's when I took around by the Moat people, and I went and listened to them, and I talked to them in the Six Nations, and in Ganyange, and Onondaga, and Kanawage, and Akwesasne, and here in Kanenhariyo, and even in Wahda, when I went around talking to people and was asking questions and learning. All those old people, the longhouse people, the traditional people, their real intention was revolutionary change. They were seeking to be independent, and that was what they were teaching us about. So when I came back home, when I come back to Longhouse, that's what we were talking about. All those young fellas. There was myself, and there was a fellow named Joe Brown. He's passed away now. Gariwawisong Neha. Gariwawisong Gaha. That was his name, but he's gone. And there was another fellow that traveled with us a bit, more with Gariwawisong actually. And his name was Kanenhariyo, Stephen Green. And there was another one, Dehodak Jeremy Green, and myself, and then I had a cousin that would often come along with us. He didn't put as much time in as we did, like in the same way as studying. Well, my cousin Jamie, and there was another fellow that I always dragged along. He wasn't really selected by the clans or something to go, but my buddy Soahio, Jason Miracle, he come along for the ride too. He dragged him along and teaching, learning. Anyways, I'm gonna do a podcast of some sort, and I was thinking that I'd probably bring people on, try to get the old people left that I know to come and ask them questions and really flush out stuff, and then bring some people on the show or something and have them talk about it, because like they were having these great law recitals, and I went to the first few, and it was a little bit disappointing because they were just telling the story. It was just the story about how the Ganawida come about and how they formed the league, but it didn't get into the rules and about how the system works and how it affects the people and how it applies and how you apply it today and how to use that in a real way sense, and what you do when you don't have cheese in place, or what you do when you don't have clan murders, or all those things, There's lots of little bunch of rules, and all our customary laws, and they're supposed to inform us how we're supposed to do our business and how we take care of things. And so, after I grew up and then I went away to university, I went and I stayed with different ones. I went and got to know the Anishinaabe people, and I asked them questions. And when I found the ones that still remembered their cultural laws, their customary laws, it turns out it's really similar to Kanenhariyo. Even the way they call it, I think it's the good life or something like that. It's the same, like it's a big good thing, That's the same as what ours is, Kanenhariyo, the great good, the good great thing, or big good, or something like that, It's a good way to be. That's what our Gini and Guari hold us. That's our way of doing it. That's our culture. And when I met the Wet'suwet'en and I talked to them about their system of governments, it was the same as Kanenhariyo, almost identical. And then I talked to Mi'kmaq people on the East Coast, and again, the same thing. And so I believe that Kanenhariyo, the great law, like when I was a little boy, when I was, 10, 11, 12 years old, they would say that at one time the Kanenhariyo spread right across all of North America, and that at one point there was something like 56 nations that were all united in agreement on how to conduct our business throughout our lands, and that's how we were able to have this giant country, and they didn't have any borders, not real ones. Not like how you see other nations where they got borders with soldiers along the line so you can't cross, we built a system with it using our clans and negotiation and orator skills and all the protocols for when you come into lands and all those sort of things, and all that was put in place. And so to me, reconciliation and land back and all of that is it's all associated to the land and associated to our laws of governance that are formed in the land. They come from the land, and they're embedded in our languages. And so I've been thinking that I really want to I want to do a Great Law like podcast about that stuff, and flush it out and talk about the controversial things, because there's lots of controversial stuff. I've been coming across something right now. I'm facing it in my own personal life and my family life, and I've been really paying attention and listening, and well, it's not just my personal life too. Also, a lot of people, a lot of families are struggling with this issue about child rearing and family, and about the responsibilities of men and women in our families, our clans, and there's a pervasive belief system out there, and I don't know that if it comes from Handsomite Code, or if it comes from the Indian Act, or what it comes from, but people say that we're not supposed to judge one another. We can't lay judgment on each other. We can't judge each other. That's for the Creator to decide. Well, that's not consistent with the Great Law at all. That's actually bullshit. And I heard it a lot. It's like, it's the excuse to not get involved, to not step in, and to assist when there's problems. It's, I can't get involved, and I'm not supposed to lay judgment. I'm not supposed to, speak up about something that's not right. That's how people use that. And that's not correct. As our system, the Kanenhariyo, there's a whole set of rules and protocols all around how to hold a court, how to actually intervene, and how people can come together and settle a dispute. Because the Kanenhariyo is completely about dispute solving. It's about a way of peacefully finding resolution and solutions to tough problems. That's what it is. It's all about that. All the rules related to how do you avoid having conflict, and how you address conflict when it happens. So to have this pervasive belief system that we're not supposed to judge, or we're not supposed to weigh in or have an opinion or to speak up or intervene, is completely in conflict with the Kanenhariyo. Totally. But that's happening. And so people are using that as an excuse to be like, we're not going to try to talk about that or deal with that family matter or that issue or those sort of things, because we're not here to judge other people. That's for the Creator to do, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's just a reason to give an excuse, because we are supposed to be here for one another, and provide each other with safety and protection, and to hear out when we're having issues. And all of our ceremonial stuff related to life is all about appealing to lifting the people's minds up, and that's what we do when there's a family, they've had somebody die, where they've for example, there's somebody's died, or a chief has died, or a clan member's died, and then the other families, the ones that are not affected by it, we call those people Rodi, Nigoragate. They got like fresh minds. Their senses are fresh. They're not all scattered on the ground. Their people are supposed to actually fully intervene and help organize and get everything ready for the funeral, and to address the mourning people, the people's heavy sadness, and even gather them all back up again and put their house back together, help them gather all their embers. Sometimes there's been a death and people just wander off in the woods, or wander off in the city, or wander off and fall inside a beer bottle or whatever, and you're supposed to gather all those embers back up again, and use all those words of condolence to raise them back up, and to make them whole again. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the opposite of, I'm not supposed to be involved. I'm not supposed to judge. I'm not supposed to intervene. I'm supposed to say, let the Creator do it. No, you're just Kanenhariyo. And those things are all Kanenhariyo related, and there's another thing that I've been noticing, and there's a lot of people talking about how the women are the decision makers, that the clan mother is the ultimate authority over the business. That's not correct. That's like, I think what's going on is that I think a lot of people are feeling like the chiefs councils, the various chiefs councils, Royane, might be a bit corrupt, or they feel like they are, or And so they're looking to prop up the clan mothers to be the authority over the chiefs to get them in line, right? Well, within Kanenhariyo, there is some protocols. There are some ways, effective ways in which a clan can direct its clan mother, or she can take direction, and they can bring in proper people. And if there's a Rayane who's speaking out of turn, or is what they say, errant, or he's not showing up for the council meetings, or he's not fulfilling his duties, that they can come and correct his behavior, either give him warning and give him tell him what they want him to do, and that sort of thing. And they can even remove him from office and put somebody else, raise and somebody new up. But that doesn't mean that the clan mother has the ultimate authority. It doesn't mean that at all. And it means that the clan does. And the clans, each of the clans, that's the group of people. That's the power comes from the authority and the strength and the movement comes from the individual people that are willing to come together and to greet each other as family members, as brothers and sisters, and to work together and to make the business happen. Like, that's the ultimate authority. It's not a Rayane and it's not a Yaguyaner. In fact, it's the people who put them in place, and they can remove them. I heard of the last time I was at a great law recital was that the Confederacy was putting on. Was at Onondaga a few years ago. Oh, quite a few years ago now. Anyways, I heard him speaking, and I'm not going to get into who exactly was saying it. Maybe I'll wait for the podcast, but they were talking about how the only way a chief can be removed from office was if the other chiefs take off his horns. And that they would only do that is if he wasn't, that if he was like causing conflict and not being agreeable and working with the other chiefs of the council. Like, literally, that is so against our laws. Like, the other clans don't have the right to intervene in our clan leadership, first of all, and he's supposed to be present at the meetings, for sure. But it's not the other chiefs' responsibility to remove him. That's not their business at all. If anything, they could raise the issue to the clan and the people of which that Lorian is from, and then they could address it, but that's not their business to do that. And it's certainly not the only ones that can remove it. And it's craziness that to say that, a chief can be taken from his position of a responsibility that was assigned to him by his people, by the other chiefs, if he doesn't go along with what they want to do. Like, that's the structure for an old boys club. That's not Kanenhariyo. Because in Kanenhariyo, you say that everybody's the same height. All the people, everyone's the same height, even though they're on it. What that means, in our language, in our ways, that means that there isn't anybody who's got the higher authority. There's nobody who's is in a position of higher power or authority over anybody else. We're all the same height. Even the children. Even the children got a voice, and they got a say. And it's supposed to be equal to their everybody else. That's why there's one of the wampum belts shows a being coming down by the council, from the sky world. And that belt is talking about that. It's always taught to me that it's a belt that reminds us about how we're all the same height, and that everyone comes from the sky world at some point, and they get sent messages, or they might be sent with a message or something special for the people. And so we're supposed to listen to everybody, what they get up to say, as long as they're not just disrupting, but they're getting up to share what their thoughts are on the topic. And we're supposed to listen, because we don't know where that message might come from. We don't know where that good idea that will benefit us all is coming from. So we're supposed to listen to it. That's the way that this goes, Anyways, we need to talk about those things. And I was taught about something that a lot of people believe that we're beat, we're overrun, we're conquered, we're destroyed, we're all those things. But you know, in our laws, you can't say you broke our law. You can't say in the language. You don't say, oh, he broke the law. You don't say that. And only in English, we run around and say, he broke the law. He broke the law. It's stupid. That's just dumb talk. What we say is that we've abandoned it, that we dropped it. That means it's still there. That means it's still usable. All it means is that you just didn't follow, you didn't use it, you abandoned it. And so how the Kanenhariyo comes back into use and back into power and back into strength is you just pick it back up again. You just stop abandoning it. Each of us as individuals and as families, we just pick it back up again. That's it. You just do it. And then it's fixed immediately. It's not like it's been destroyed and burnt down and now you can't have it no more. You just have it by using it. That's all. And it's just as simple as that. And you do that long enough, you know, when I was a kid, I'll give an example. When I was a kid, there was nobody left here in Kanenhariyo that could sing our songs and dances. I didn't know anybody. No one knew how to do that. It had been abandoned, had been lost, you know, misplaced. The people got off track, or they got assimilated, right? We got under major controls and illegal to get together and dance and sing, and so that's what happened. Well, in my lifetime, I'm 45, and so in my lifetime, it was like 1988 or 89, something like that. Might have been a little later, but some of the women here in the community, they hired a fella. They invited him to come here to teach the people how the songs and the dances, and I came, and I was one of the kids that went, and we started having a social once a month, I think is how it began. And they did a little workshop on how to make a water drum and how to make it rattle, and then how to sing the different songs and the dances. And after a while, we had a singing society, and after a while, we had a young men sing society and a woman sing society, and then there were singing societies with different medicine societies, you know, just grew like that. So now, that's 30 years ago, and people here, the young people, you know, people under 30, none of them remember a time when there was no singing and dancing. None of them, because it's always been here ever since. We just picked it up, and then it's back. You fixed it. And people are singing and dancing and having social, and the people know the different dances and know the songs, and that's that easy to do it. You just do it, and then people do it, and you embrace it, and you use it. And then when it's appropriate time, you sing and you dance and you give thanks and those things. And then no longer people don't remember when that used to happen, because people are singing and dancing. And you've got to have some responsibilities. There's some rules to it, right? So when I was learning those songs and dances, we were told that with the honor of learning those songs and those dances, you had an obligation. You were given a gift to sing and dance. You also had a responsibility that came with that gift. And that was, you had to go and perform those for the people when they asked them. You didn't get to say no. And you had to go there and sing and dance to help raise the spirit of the people when they were sad, or when they were having a hard time, or when they were just lost, or when they just wanted it. They just wanted to feel the happiness from singing and dancing. Then you had to do that. So that's what got taught over here, and so that's how it goes. And so if there's a social dance going on, if you're a singer, you're supposed to go over there and help. Go help out the other ones singing, so that it is not just fall on one or two shoulders. And then a big social happens. You don't need to get paid. You don't need to. That's your payment was that you got to know those songs and dances, and your responsibility that came with it was that. Well, the same thing applies to lots of other stuff. And I'm kind of avoiding the topic that I'm really upset about, but it's about our clans. Because people are running around with a sticker or on their car, or a pair of earrings with a turtle on it, or a shawl with a bear on it, or maybe a guy's got a house with a bear on his house, or I don't know. We're acting like those clans are just like they're something you're wearing. Or it's like a spirit animal or something crazy shit like that. And that's not what it is. Your clan is your family. And you are a member of that family. And that group of people need to be meeting. And they're organized. And they check in with each other. And they claim you. It's not just you claim them. Oh, I'm Bear Clan. Well, you need Bear Clan people who are like, hey, he's our brother, and he's one of us, and he's a Bear Clan with us, or whatever, right? A Wolf Clan, a Turtle Clan. That's having a clan, that you actually have a group of people who you check in with and you are responsible to, and they're responsible to you. And you're supposed to go there, and those are the people that judge you. They're the ones that say, hey, you're fucking up, and we come here to straighten you out so you be a better person, Or come there and say, hey, we see you're having a hard time, and we'll come to love you and take care of you, help you out, what's going on? You need food, or you need some help to pay your hydro bill, or what's happening? I see your lawn's not cut. Did you hurt yourself? You need some help? Should we come over and help trim the trees up, or bring you firewood, or whatever it is? That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to run around with fucking beaded earrings and say, I'm a Turtle Clan, I'm a Wolf Clan, or I keep saying earrings. I'm not trying to pick on the women, but I see more women wearing nice clothes, and men, we don't do that. We're too cheap. We won't buy clothes with the nice things on it. So, but my point is that we run around like that. Oh, well, I'm a Bear Clan, I'm a Wolf Clan, but you're not participating with a group of your family and your clan as your family, and so you're not helping when there's problems. That means that you're not allowing Kanenhariyo to work, because the great law of the Kanenhariyo is all based on the clan, all of it. Everything about it is all based on that, even the land. There's no such thing as Grand River land, or Bay Quinte land, or Cornwall Island land. That's nonsense. That's not in our culture. That's the Indian Act did that shit. Our way, historically, and all other Indians that picked up Kanenhariyo that live in, like the Anishinaabe and the Wet'suwet'en even, and the Mi'kmaq, everybody's organized like this. And even our people, until we got put on these concentration camps, and even when we got on these concentration camps, they were organized like this at first, the first 100 years. The land was all divided up by clan families. And those families are the ones that all lived on those lands and used those lands. And they had a right to be there and be on it. And they weren't a big overlap. It wasn't like, oh, that's nation land, everyone can go there. No. There was Dahanakgarina lands, different territories, different areas where you got fishing grounds, or you got hunting grounds, you got a maple sugar bush, or what have you. And no one else is allowed to go on there and hunt and fish on there, except them people. And same thing with each of the different clans and each of the different families. And the whole territory, North America, was divided like that. You go ask around, that's how you ask people, and they'll say, oh, that's Shoshone land. And then you go and ask them Shoshone people, and they'll say, oh, well, that chunk is this family, and that chunk's that family, or, that's how it is. Some of it might be, that's everybody uses that one together, certain area, or might have to be some cases where it's rare, and so say maybe it's like a big sugar bush. So like in the Longhouse at midwinter, or in the springtime, they'll play a peachstone game to determine who's going to go out and tap the trees. Well, the reason that is because you're determining like what clan is going to go out there and have access to all them trees, right? Sometimes they divide it between the women and the men, and say, well, we got a sugar bush, or we got a big garden area, and we're going to play a game to determine which gender is going to go take the responsibility to do the work. And they also get, of course, there's a benefit to that. They get a win they get payment from winning the game, so they win the contract. So that's our way of doing a bidding war on a contract. Everybody plays the game, and you put a bet up for what you want to be paid, what it's worth to you for the work that you got to do. Not a pair of socks. That's dumb. I'm just so annoyed when people cheapen all of those things that you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to put up there what it's worth value to you. So you imagine that if you're going to spend a month of your life completely taken away. You're not going to go to work. You're not going to go do all those other things. You're just going to make syrup. And a large percentage of what you're going to make in syrup is going to be given to everybody else. You're going to want to have a fairly significant return for your investment of time, right? So you're not going to put a pair of socks up or a shirt, ribbon shirt or something like that. Like, that's not enough for how much effort and time you got to put in. Like, you'd be putting up something significant. And that's how it should be, you know. And so I'm frustrated because I'm seeing a lot of things go on, and people are running around with their ribbon dresses on and their ribbon shirts on and their moccasins and their gustoas. And they're talking about Kanenhariyo and talking about our culture and stuff. But they're not really talking about living it and using it. And I'm feeling like that's disservice to the young people and to the people who live that and want that as their way of life. And there's lots of people who have abandoned our way of life and don't want to do that. That's fine, but don't fucking get in the way of those of us who do. Don't get in the way and say, "Oh well, we're a conquered people, so you can't have that." No, you're conquered. You don't want it. That's fine. You abandon Kanenhariyo, not me, not him or her or them. You. So if you abandon it, fuck off. But those of us, you know, like, get out of the way. Don't you go over and try to tell the rest of us, "Oh well, times have changed." Like here, like where I live, the cops driving by, you know, and I'll talk to them and I'll say, "Well, that's in conflict with our laws and our ways." And they'll say to me, I've had it said to me a couple times, "Well, times have changed." I said, "Well, what date?" Because it didn't change, because we picked it up. We're using that. The only thing that changed is they don't believe that anymore. Well, they don't have the right to push that on us, on our own territory. They do not have the right to do that. And we shouldn't be tolerating that. So I guess this is maybe that's a little rant or a message to people who are sick and tired of that. Like, you know, you're not alone. You know, and there's some of you who are like, "Oh, they're believing that. Oh, well, we got to accept that they want that." Well, no, we don't. We don't need to accept that. They don't get to put that on us. They get to keep that for themselves, maybe. And but that's they don't have the right to put that on the land or on us. So I've been thinking about that a lot. You know, especially when it comes to raising our children. And this is the one that's been really bothering me a lot. I've been hearing people use the words like, we have a matriarchy, or a matriarchal society. Even some of them say a matrilineal society. I even seen it on the Confederacy website, the Six Nations, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy Chiefs Council. If I remember correctly, it says that they were a matriarchal society. That means that the women are the bosses. They're in charge. That's bullshit. That's completely in conflict with our laws. That's completely in conflict with Kanenhariyo. There's no matriarchy because the women aren't taller than the men. They're not higher than the men. We're the same height. The men and the women and the children and the old people and the sick people. We're all the same height. And so we don't got a matriarchy. And we don't have a patriarchy. And that's bullshit. And we need to abandon that kind of thinking. And we need to straighten people out. And so that's bothering me. And I've been wanting to speak to that for a while. And I even hear clan mothers talking like that. Like they're the boss. And they're just supposed to be there to be your mother. To protect you and to nurture you and to love you and to be concerned about your well-being and to organize the people to assist you if you're having a hard time and check in. And they're also the one that's supposed to hear the message. If you're acting up when people come to give you trouble, they're supposed to go to talk to your clan mother. And you're on it first and say, "Hey, so-and-so did this to me or did this or I believe this happened." And they're supposed to go and investigate that and talk to the family and they're supposed to be your advocate. They're supposed to be there to stand up for you and to love you and to be concerned about your well-being and to check in and then come back and say, "Well, you know what the story was on our side of this is this, you know, blah, blah, blah." And so then now you got two clans They got to sort something out because there's some issue between two people, two different clans. That's how that's supposed to work. They're not there to make decisions without people telling them what to do. No, that clan member is supposed to be worried about your well-being, and she should have a support team of other women to be doing the same thing. The aunties and the grandmas and the mums and sisters and cousins and so on, and that's really important. But that doesn't mean that they're in charge. It means that they got a responsibility within the family unit and within the clan unit, which is the family unit, Gahwajre, to assist you. And that's really, really important. And we're missing that in a lot of cases. We're missing that in a lot of cases where either a clan mother is she's trying to do that job, but people are mad at her or why she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing, but that's because they think she's supposed to be in charge. She's not supposed to be in charge. You're not supposed to put that on her. There's too much weight to put on her. You're supposed to go there and help her and say, "Hey, Mom, what do you need? You have enough money to take care of your business, and you got your house is paid for, and is your hydro on and it's okay, and you got food, and you're able to move around and travel and do the things you gotta do." That's what we're supposed to do. And she's supposed to be able to be available to talk to her people, right? That's what the job is. And she's supposed to be present when the names happened, right? When the names happen, when you name a baby. And when we name a child, we make it public. The mother and the father and the clan mother and the Riane of the mother and are present. And sometimes or often they'll get the father's man from the father's family or clan to sing Aduma, and they'll sing. And they'll sometimes they do that. Sometimes they get the mothers. One of them though, two families. Because when a child is made, there's two clans. This is another one that I've been having conflict with. I've been frustrated about. I've been hearing people talk about this, and they say, "Oh, we only have one clan." That's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. And I want to speak to it because it's just driving me crazy. It's when you have a child and you announce that name in the longhouse, that's the last time you do the naming for that name. It's done a couple times earlier. You're supposed to, when a child's born, the father introduces that child. He says, "This is who you are. This is who I am, and I'm your dad, and this is your name. This is who you are. And I want to introduce you to a mother." And then the father introduces that child to its mother. Said, "This is your mom's name. This is your mother. She's the one, she's going to love you. She's the one that carried you in her body, Together we made you, And that father helps to hand that child to the mother. There's a lot of people who tell the story that the fathers aren't supposed to be anywhere near where the child's being born. And they give nonsense stories about how if he sees her vagina looking like that he's not going to want to make love with her. Like, that's crazy nonsense. But that's the stuff I heard people saying. And when you're bringing a child into the world, there's two parties. There's the mother and the father, and they're making a family, and they're raising that's going to make those kids, And that father, he's rugani to the baby. He gives to the child. That's his job. Rugani. He's the one who loans it to me. He's the one who gives it to me. That's what his name is. And Ista, that's the one that provided energy. She gave a life. She provided energy, the power, like energy power, not power like control. And that's who those two. And then the aunties are Ista. There's the little power, little energy. All the mom and all the aunties is the same person. All the women, all the older women, the sisters of the mom and the dad are the aunties, right? The sisters of those two. And so the same, the Ragani and then the Raganuha, that's the little father, the little one that gives to me, the uncles. That's the brothers of the mother and the father. And we've got this mixed up in our system. We're acting like the only one who's family members to a child is the mother's family. And that's wrong. Yatatskayeri. And I don't know where that's coming from, but I hear it over and over again. And it seems like it's coming right in line with, we're a matriarch, and we have a matrilineal society, where that means that everything follows a mother's line. And now they're acting like only the mom's family are relatives to the children. But that's not right. That's actually in conflict with our laws, our great law. And I keep hearing it over and over, and I'm saying something because I don't see anybody else saying it. That's wrong. The father is as important as the mother to be a parent and raising the children. And the father's job is not to support the mom. The father's job is to support the child. He's not rugging it to the mom. He gives it to her, and she does everything. No, that's not how it goes. That's not the relationship that the mom and dad have. They both have a relationship to the child. And the aunties and uncles to the child. And when we name a baby, we say, this is the mother's clan, this is the family, and this is the father's clan, the family. And these are the two families that are responsible for this child. We say that in the speeches. We're supposed to be. And we say, if they both got a clan, the child's got two clans, one the mother's and the father's clan. So you have a first clan, that's the mother, and the secondary clan is the father's clan. And so you can go to and they say it, you're supposed to say this. You go, if there's an issue, you go to the mother's clan, mother and the chief, to speak to the child. And that's why the chief and clan are supposed to be there, present and standing there when the baby's named, so you have a physical representation to see exactly who it is that you're supposed to talk to. And then on the father's side, the same thing, they announce it, who's the father and the father's family. Because if the mother's side is not capable to take care of it, or they become sick or whatever, something's happened, they're not able to tend to it, then you can go to the father's clan to address the child as well. You can go to the father's clan to get assistance or help or speak to them as well. You got both options, not just one. And when they announce that, they'll say, Rudinism. They say, Negiga Raksa Rudinism. This boy is Rudinism. That means he's whole, he's complete. He has two clans. Not one, two. Rudinism. And then when they say that is the case, then they'll announce it, that this one is eligible to be a Loyane or Yagoyane. You got to have a clan on both sides within our nation, right? You have two clans of the same nation, of the same group of people that are part of the Garnet Goa. So if you got a father that's outside of that, you won't say Rudinism, because it takes a couple generations of bringing them in. Three generations. So that's really important, because when you raise a chief or a clan mother, this is one of the primary rules to being eligible to stood up for that. As you're supposed to have you're supposed to be Rudanisa. You're supposed to have a father's clan and a mother's clan in the longhouse, in the system. And the reason is so that if you're only related to the people that you're representing, and you don't have any relationship to the people on the other side of the fire, on the other side of the council, if you don't have aunties and uncles and grandpas and grandmas over there, then you might become so stubborn that you'd be willing to just break the peace and say, well, we're not going to come to an agreement, so fine, and we're not going to settle this. We don't care, because you don't have any relationship over there. And that is why it's a requirement that any leaders have to be people who are connected on both sides, so that we don't actually have opposition, that we only have one house. We have Skatnigurna, one mind, Skaweri, Sewaweri, one heart, and Swaya, the one body. That's what we got. And that's how we make it that way, is that we make sure our leadership are related, have family members and are related to both sides of the council, so that we'll never become so brittle that we become hard and we break. And it's really frustrating to me when I see these clans and these people, and they're not taking their responsibility in helping raising children. And I'm hearing the women say, oh, well, the women are the children are the responsibility of the women. That's not true. The women have a responsibility to be the energy providers. They're supposed to cook and provide food. That's why, that's right. I mean, that's completely natural. Child's born, the first thing the woman does is feed the child with her breast. Like, she's literally the food provider. And that's why it's embedded right in Garnet Goal when there's a council meeting or there's going to be a meeting, that the women fall on their responsibility to make sure that people are fed. They're responsible to feed them. Just like the men have a responsibility, and the father has a responsibility to provide for the child and give the child the things and to teach the child. Same with the grandfathers and grandmothers, to teach the child and to give to the child. And the uncles are all supposed to give to the child. They're the ones that provide them, get them the things that they need, and to provide them for them. That's their job or responsibility. And so, it's not like in the Garnet Goa, you got two clans. The father's clan has the same responsibility as the mother's clan. The grandmothers and the aunties and uncles, to be there, to be a part of raising them and to be a part of their lives and to impart and to teach what their family knowledge is to those young people. You're not supposed to give the children to the fucking school to teach. You're supposed to be teaching your kids. And if your clan makes a school, awesome. That's how your clan wants to handle educating its own children. But both clans are responsible, whatever that mixture is of the two clans. So if you got a delinquent father who's not doing his job, it's the responsibility of his mother and his aunts and his sisters and his brothers to get him in line. But it's also their responsibility to be a part of that child's life too. And it should not fall on the mother to be like a sole parent. No, it's supposed to fall on both families to be parents. And this is really troublesome to me because I've literally heard clan mothers say, "My job is to look out for and to advocate for the women." That's not a clan mother's job. But I've literally heard that said, and it's not that. It's your obligation and your responsibility to advocate for the whole of your clan, the whole people. And the same thing with the other side. And so these are some things that are really serious. And they're affecting everybody's family. They're so what's happening where the court system or the CAS system or the family services system or just Christian belief system. Because I'm pretty sure the Christians is where we're getting so influenced. Because I think the way it works is that the husband and wife get together in the Christians, and the man is supposed to provide for the woman, and she raises the children for the family. I think that's their model. That's not our model. And in fact, in our model, the father's clan can adopt a child. They have a real special, unique interest, or they really love that child, or that child's got special skills that they could really use in their family, or that they've taught them and they could really use them. They can say, we want to take that child in and adopt it and bring that underneath us, and they can. They're allowed to. Garnet Go allows that, and they can choose to pick that child and stand them up a name and do that. They're allowed to do that. That's right in Garnet Go. That's why often when there's someone has a father's got a clan and the mother hasn't got no clan from another nation, but they're living inside the community and living within the culture of the people, that the father's clan will often choose to take the child and say, we're going to name him and bring him underneath the father. That's why, because Garnet Go allows for that. But that's it's not really the way it was designed for. It's designed for when you got someone with two clans, and it's just to have a unique special gift or ability, and you need that in your family, or you're extra close. Another incident is when a mother and father, and let's say the mother dies. Well, the father doesn't lose his children to his wife's sister and her parents to take the child. No, he raises the child. And his family is the ones that are to stand up and to give the extra assistance, supposed to give the extra assistance to raise the child. The father's clan. And, of course, the mother's clan assists. Sometimes in the past, if a wife died like that, the wife's family, they'd put up a sister, and a husband and the wife's sister would get together. She might come to help stay, be a nanny, or they might become partners. like lovers. That was a common thing to happen in the past. You don't see it so much now, but that's our old system and function. And we need to be picking those things back up again. And we need to stop relying on and using the Christian ideas about how the things function, or feminist ideas, or whatever the stuff that's out there, influencing our way in a negative way that's actually undermining Kanenhariyo. That's really bothering me. And I've been thinking a lot about it. And so I want to talk about those things in a real super tight detail. And I want to make a podcast, or maybe people will call in and, give ideas, or share what they understand, or maybe they'll come on the show and talk about it, and they'll say, well, this is what I was taught, or this is how I seen it growing up, or this is what I researched. Or they might say, well, what happens in this case, or what happens in that case, and then it'll allow us to have some debate on it, I'm not saying I know everything. I know I don't know everything. It's impossible to know everything, but I know a lot of stuff, and I heard a lot of things, and I want to share it because I'm feeling like people are being led astray with stuff that's absolutely in conflict with our ways and our culture. And it's being sold like it's the real, and it isn't. It's a lie. And I don't know what's the influence, I don't know if it's people that grew up Christians or grew up without our culture and then came back to it as adults and don't really understand, so they're sharing what they believe is right. Or I see somebody saying on there, bring back multiple wives. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was multiple husbands, but whatever. I think as long as no one's getting hurt, it's okay. That's what our laws say. We're a free people, and you're allowed to do whatever you want as long as you're not harming anybody else. That's what I was raised. That's how I was taught about our way and who we are. That's why we don't have a system that has an incredible lot of laws and rules like, say, the British people that came here. They have like encyclopedias and encyclopedia of books of rules and laws and obscure stuff they don't even know anymore that is still their laws, how they're supposed to live and what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. And ours is a lot more simple, like do no harm, don't hurt anybody else, don't mind your business, and at least mind your business in terms of your business not causing harm to others, and to look out for each other. That's a big one, is look out for each other. So that's different than mind your business where you don't care about your neighbor, but you look out for one another and love one another and have compassion for one another and take care of each other and make sure nobody goes without. That doesn't mean you got to give away all your wealth. It means that you make sure that you don't have any homeless people, That's what we're supposed to do. And that we're not supposed to leave anybody without a family. That's why we have a system for adoption. So for somebody that's got no one, we're supposed to take them in. And that doesn't mean you just say, oh, yeah, I'm related. No, it's a lot more than that. You take care of them. And so, well, this is a really long thing. I don't know how long I talked for, but I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's really bothering me. And as I go through this, I'm sure that even my own thinking will change. Or I'll say it, I believe it's one way, and then after a bit of time and thinking and talking to other people, I may come to learn that I've been mistaken, or that there's more to it, or there's something else to add to it. But I just think it's very important that when we talk about our laws and our systems, that we do it in a context, we talk about it in a context as real life, and that we make sure that we fact check what's being said in like cross check it with our own system. To say, is this what someone's saying, we have a matriarch, is that consistent with the other aspects of our laws? And in that case, it isn't. And so we know that we don't have a matriarch, because a matriarch would mean that we got the female leadership, the head of the state, or and we don't have that. It doesn't mean that the women can't have a role in it. They certainly do, but it's not higher than the men, and vice versa. The men aren't higher than the women. What we have, I believe, is not even a democracy. A democracy is where you vote in the leadership will make decisions for you. There's right now the Confederacy it seems like they're trying to operate like that, or people are trying to encourage that because they're lazy and they don't want to participate in all the meetings and go out and have clan meetings and weigh in on the business and make all the decisions because they want to be too busy going iron working or run cigarettes or, you know, that sort of stuff. So they don't want to participate because it's too much work. They just want to leave it on someone else's side. So they're like, oh, let the chiefs and clan Mars or let band council. So it's like they are believe that the democracy is our culture, but it isn't either. We're supposed to have a system where we weigh in on the business and we think about it and we voice our opinion, and that opinion gets carried forward. And if it's really a big issue, then we'll get right involved in it. If it's something that we're really passionate about, that's important to us, and if it's something less important to us, we'll leave that on other people to deal with, you know. And so it ebbs and flows like that. But what we have is something that you would call a republic, where the people have a voice and a say. And we have a warrior culture, right, where all the men have a explicit responsibility to be the protectors of the people and the land. So that means that we have a warrior culture. It means you have a culture that is built around all the males have a responsibility to be, you know, trained and capable and ready and able at any moment to stand up and to defend the land and defend the people and fight. It doesn't mean that they're offensive, like out there just conquering the world. It's not about conquering. It's about peace. It's about you can't have peace if you don't have the capacity to make war. You simply don't, because someone will just come along and take from you, right? And if you're a passive, that doesn't mean that you're peaceful. It means that you're ineffective and you're not a threat to anybody. You can't have peace if you're a pacifist. The people that have the capacity to defend their lands and to fight if necessary, they can have peace because they can peacefully know when they go to sleep that they're not going to get raided by the by the pirates or the thieves or the Vikings or the British or the RCMP, right? They know that. So anyways, I really been thinking about this a lot, and I feel like we got to have some debate and some discussion about these things so that we can put them in practice. And so maybe people didn't hear this stuff before and they were like, oh, what, really? And it'll help jog their thinking. And some people might just think, oh, what the hell does he know? Well, that's fine. You don't have to listen, you know. But I really want to see Kanenhariyo arise again, and that means that we are independent, free people, separate from Canada and the U.S., and that we can play on the world stage and have our own territory and land that we govern and we police and we protect, and have our own economy, and we bring in the people that we feel are good for our nation and our language revive, and build our own banking system and build our own money system. And there are a lot of people like, oh, money is the root of all evil. Money is just a trade currency. It's just a currency. It's just a trade item. It's a technology for trade, and our people used those sorts of technologies in the past. And there's no reason why we can't adopt new technology into the future that makes sense for us right now. Like when we adopt things that we have a culture of adoption of technology as well. Like as soon as the cast iron pot came along, out went the clay pot. Why? Because it was a new technology and it worked and we liked it. And it was helpful and made life easier. And same thing with gill nets and fishing nets and stuff. When we could find a better material to make a net, that's the kind of material we used to make the net. And so we didn't just throw things away, or we didn't just only stay in the past. Oh no, we only will use a flint knife. We won't use a metal knife. Of course not. And so, as new technology and new things develop, and we can build new economies, maybe we build, we take on things. The trick is to be mindful and to look at it and go, do these new technologies, this way of thinking, or these new ideas, do they conflict with our cultural practice and with our great law, with Kanenhariyo? Do they conflict with that? And if they don't, then we should be able to take them on. And if they do, then we need to really look at them and go, is this going to mess us up? Is this going to put us off course? Or will this take us off that path that Kanenhariyo lays us down for us? Right? And that's like how the Amish and and the Mennonites and stuff, the way I understand, that's how they function. New technology comes in, they go, is this in conflict with our scriptures, right? Is this in conflict with our, well, in their case, their belief system? Is it gonna change the way their people, the way they live, in a manner that's in conflict with their cultural beliefs and their laws, right? Their scriptures are their laws. They're religious people. We're not that, but we do have a set of laws. We have a system for living, and I think that we should be looking at it similarly. I don't think that we should act like them, though. We don't need to necessarily live in white houses or believe that there's a God, or, you know, I don't really subscribe to that idea that Sungwadism is the pinnacle of our society. I'm thinking more like, right? The earth, right? She's kind of important, and the moon, and, you know, so I think about it more like that. And when I was taught about those things, I was taught, we say the word that we would give thanks to that great natural power and energy. That's the thing that gives us all life. I never really learned about it like Sungwadism, you know, let's give thanks to the one who made our bodies. But somehow that gets translated in English to be like the creator, like God. And we don't have our culture is not synonymous with the Christians in terms of the idea of God and that sort of thing. That's new. That's really new. That's 70 years old new, or 100 years old new. That's all. And it's definitely has had a negative impact in our society and our culture to even adapt that ideology. Anyways, I talked for a long time. If you want to see a podcast about Kanenhariyo and about like debating these issues and talking about all the finer details about, you know, what do you do when you're going to send a runner out to deliver a message? You know, what are the steps and what's the speech and what's the wampum look like? You know, or what do you do when, you know, someone shot your dog across the road and you got to address it and use the longhouse system? Then that's what I want to do, because I don't believe it'll come back if we don't talk about it and then we don't try to use it. And that we may even have to go to other people, other Ungahuma, you know, the Lenape, or to the Anishinaabe, or to Wampanoags, or to, you know, even, you know, the Mi'kmaq or the Wet'suwet'en, and say, hey, what part of your laws have you got left over there that we lost? We would probably be wiser to adopt and adapt rules and stuff from other people, other indigenous people of this land who had a similar law system and similar belief system, than we are to adopt ideas that came from Europe, you know, or come from Western universities of today. I don't think we need to be adopting post-colonial theory, or, you know, or feminism, or capitalism, or communism, or socialism, all those things, right? Like that, we don't need to be adopting those things. We need to be going to our own nations, our own people, and say, hey, how do you guys manage land management? How do you guys handle arranged marriages? How do you guys handle clan system? How do you guys put up leadership? How do you guys handle medicine? Or how do you make a living? Or how do you share resources? Or how do you address conflict? Or, you know, what is the appropriate fine if you accidentally kill your neighbor by running him over in a car? Like, how do you deal with that, right? In according to our laws, you know. That's what I would think makes more sense than for us just to continue assimilating by adopting these people who came here as ideas. So, anyways, I love yous all, and I've been going through a lot of hell, and a big part of it is about this stuff. And so I thought, instead of being sad, I should talk about it. Because I want to live it here, and I want to see it around me, and I want to see the people having the opportunity to pick that up and to embrace that our ways in their life, and that we can share that with each other, and how we can do that, so that and not feel like we're all alone, or feel like, you know, oh, we're conquered, so we can't use our laws no more. Because it's bullshit. All you gotta do is pick it up. It's not broken. You can't break our laws. You're just gonna abandon them. So, as easy as they can be abandoned, they can be embraced, and you just pick them up. Anyways, Kanenhariyo, and I'll depending on my feedback, people get back to me, inbox me, message on here, put up stuff on here, share this, and if people have a positive, they want to hear more of this, then I'll do it, I guess. And if all you say, shut the fuck up, Kanenhariyo, we don't want to talk, we don't want to hear from you, just go disappear in the shadow, I probably won't. But whatever. I'll talk to you later. Oh no. Nyawa.